And today we're going to talk about roads and fixing them and stuff like that, but not, unfortunately, the local streets and roads. These will all be federal and state roads because we have guests from MDOT with us this morning. First of all, from MDOT Communications, we welcome Caitlin French. Caitlin, good morning. Whoop, just a minute. Now try it.
Good morning, Art.
Good to have you here. Also with us, the manager of the Bay office, and we say good morning to Steve Catehouse. Good morning, Catehouse.
Hi. Good morning, Art. How are you?
Very well, Steve. Thanks for being with us. I want to start with Caitlin because you have a project, and I first heard about this in our Media Law Enforcement Committee meetings, and I don't know how many years it's been going on now, but you have something called Paint a Plow.
Yep.
At a time of year when we're thinking of getting rid of plows.
Well, yeah, this is the second year of this. So in a bit of a nutshell, this is a cool kind of partnership between MDOT and the community schools. So basically what happens is schools can apply for this, and if they're selected, they'll be able to get one of our plows, one of our blades, and decorate it. So the kids can go, hog wild on, whatever artistic, endeavors they kind of have with it. But they got to stay, along the message. That way we always want to promote a safety message. And this year's is give plows space. It's not a race. And as somebody who likes rhymes, I really like it. So that's based on that law that was recently signed by the governor to stay about 200 feet away from the plows. And it's a message, that the kids are now able to get out there, in a really visible way, using their artistic skills. And probably the coolest part about this for the kids is that plow will be on an actual plow truck, and they'll get to see it going through their community.
That was my question in my mind, the way it works. My first thought was, well, these are a bunch of out-of-service plows they don't use anymore. These are actually plows that you use on the trucks. They're in-service plows.
Yep. So last year it was Heritage High School. They did a really cool hands-free message with a hawk. They had a Heritage Hawks. I think it was something like Hawks Go Hands-Free, and it's a hawk flying away from a cell phone. Well, driving around Saginaw, I've seen it on the roads. And it was just kind of cool to see, hey, that's the kids' plow. And, it's exciting for us to see it, but it's got to be super exciting for the kids.
How many plows do you put out a year?
In total or painted?
No, you got painted plows. How many
painted
schools?
Plows, last year we did one per region, approximately, depending, availability, what regions participated. And I think we're aiming for about the same this year.
So have you picked a school yet?
Not yet. So the applications, are currently being accepted. So
now how do they do that?
So how do they do this? There's an online website. They can go out. They can search Paint the Plows, probably the easiest way to do that. Paint the Plow on MDOT, it'll pop up. They'll be able to fill out an online form, just the basics on the form, and that'll be open until May 16th. And that's open to any schools, private, public, parochial, any kind of school is able to do this. It's for high schools. And then the plow will then, whatever school is selected, the plow is going to be dropped off in the fall. And then the kids get to work on it till about mid-October when we'll come pick it up.
And is this one of the front truck plows rather than a mid-section plow?
I think it depends on what we have. I know some regions have the front one. Heritage, they did one of the side of the wing blade plows.
Oh, the wing plows, really?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So they had the wing one, which is kind of cool with it being Hawks. They had the wing plow sticking out on the side there. So
does MDOT deliver the plow to the school?
Yep, our guys will deliver the plow. And then they also go pick it up, and that's been a really great experience.
Oh, I would hope so.
Oh, yeah. But no, our guys have loved it, though. They loved engaging with the kids with it, seeing their artwork, taking pictures of the plow when it was ready. It was a pretty cool thing for everybody involved.
So, Steve, let me ask you, over the years, there's been a lot of talk about the roads. And there was the governor used it as a campaign slogan. What kind of shape, if we have to take the city and the rural, local road streets out of this mix right now because you guys don't deal with them, what kind of shape are our state roads and federal roads in, particularly in this region? Let's stay here.
Well, it depends on where you travel. We've got some that are in good shape or good condition, some that are in poor condition. So I guess to our viewers and people who are listening, we do try our best to have an asset management plan to actually address the road condition, or have we look at their history, we look at the condition, we look at the traffic counts, and with the funding that we're given, we're actually trying to come up with the best fix to try to preserve that road that road structure. And so every year we try our best to try to manage those assets.
So if you go in and reconstruct a road, by reconstruct, I'm not talking about just capping it.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in, you go down to the bed and everything else, you put in new structure.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you expect that road to last?
Yeah, usually whether it has HMA or I'll just typically call it blacktop,
Right.
and or concrete, it's usually about a 25 to 35 years life expectancy.
Does one last longer than the other? Why
Uh,
do we use one in one place and another in another place?
Yeah, the usually for the design life that we, from the engineering side, it's usually a 20 to 25 year for HMA, and then 30 year for concrete. But both materials have their pros and cons, and we even though we say it's a design life of such and such, usually we stretch it a little bit further than that. There's mixes of fixes, so I don't really want to say there's one preferred over another. I think some hold up in some locations better. And we do try to do a cost analysis to see what the driving conditions are and to try
so
to make that choice. So.
People understand from the time you identify a road to get rebuilt, doesn't happen tomorrow.
Nope.
What's the design lead time and what's the lead time until you actually put a spade down into the ground and turn it?
So for projects that are what we call reconstruct, like you're alluding to, that goes all the way down to the base structure. We plan 5 years in advance.
5?
5 years. Yep.
I was expecting to hear 2.
No, that's 5. But that's from the very start that we pinpoint to say, okay, for X to Y, we want to take it right down to the base is what we call it, and to the day that we get the shovel in the ground is approximately 5 years.
Now, when you do that, you already have a road structure there. Do you have to redesign that road literally, or can you just dig it up and lay it down again?
We do have to look at it from the design factors to say, is it up to the current standards? And then we also go ahead and we'll do soil borings. We'll look at what's below it. What's still good? If it's still good, we'll leave it there. It cuts down the cost. If it's something that has to be removed because it was less than desirable from the very beginning, then we are going right down to give us brand new material to hopefully get a longer life period out of that.
How long have you been with MDOT?
I've been a little over 20 years, but
Okay,
professionally I've been in it for 27 years.
Okay. So year 1, you're tasked with designing a road, and year 27, you're tasked with designing a road. Is the road you build today the same road you'd built 27 years ago?
There are some differences, correct. Yes. I'd say the differences would be the design, structure standards as far as like the depth of asphalt. Yeah. Yep. Yes. But, and width too. So the width of what our customers will be traveling on. So to make sure that it's a little bit safer. We prefer to go a little bit wider, which than what the standards were 20 years ago.
Is the material different today? Is the HMA different than what it was umpteen years ago?
We have made advances in both materials, concrete or asphalt, to try to give us the longer life. Yes.
And I asked that specifically for that reason, because I have heard that other states in their HMAs and things that they use rubber and other kinds of things to allow for the thaw and freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw. Do we do that?
They're constantly looking at other ways to advance, and I am not familiar with adding rubber to our system or our HMA. We could have done that elsewhere statewide, but I do know that a couple of years ago we had an initiative to look at a 50-year payment and a 50-year and a 25-year payment down in Flint, where we actually added additional material to that one to see if we can get the longevity that's expected.
You run test strips like that then? You set it up so that you run a test?
Yeah, there's a 50-year payment. It was before your time, sorry, Caitlin, but yes. And then we monitor it. Yeah, for years MDOT has monitoring strips. I guess a good example for that is our US 10 job that we just paved the last 2 years ago, 2 summers ago. There's, I think, 3 different types of materials, or maybe 4 different types of materials that we're monitoring on westbound US 10.
How often do you monitor them?
I
You go out every so often and see how they're
That-
holding up, or is it electronic monitoring?
Our office does not monitor
Oh,
it.
okay.
It is something that our statewide group does with the help of us. But I'm unsure of the frequency that we go out there and look at that.
So when you build
test
a
section.
regional road, and we're going to get to one you're going to be working on pretty soon here, but when you build a regional road, is all that design work done right here in the region?
Yes. Yep. We either have our own staff do that work, or we'll hire a local firm or consultant or vendor,
Yeah.
and then they'll do that. We'll hire them to do that function for us.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back with our MDOT guests, and we'll talk about State Street when we return.
Did you see Congresswoman Kristen McDonald?
Eventually going to get to State Street
Yes.
and actually
Yeah.
build it.
We're making some advancements. Yes, has been a little bit of delay. We had some utility companies are working very hard to try to get the.
That has been the
utility-
issue, though. Utilities.
It has
It's what's
been.
held you up.
Yeah, and they're working very hard at it. We've been communicating with them, and it's one of those things where we want to have those utilities out of the way before we move our contractor in. And so it's if we moved in prematurely, they would be in conflict and we would be sitting there idle. So, but we've been working with them. They're doing great.
And
And
what,
then
that construction is court to bay, or court?
it's bay to it's right there at the splits. I guess.
Yeah, from the split.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ba-
yeah, that's
so
right.
the-
So it's before court
Yeah, the split. Yeah, and then head easterly all the way to Bay Road.
to Bay Road, right?
Correct,
Because
yeah.
beyond that, it's already been done. It's
Yeah.
smooth. Yeah.
Well, beyond that,
Well, maybe a cap.
there has been a cap placed on that to get us by for another 5 years, and that is on the fringe to be done within the next 5 years.
Oh, good.
Yes, yeah, it's early stages, so anything can move. So I've been hesitant to relate that to customers, like, it's within the next
Yeah.
5 years. So, but yeah, that's the intent as of today.
So they put up the new lights. They're just hanging there. They're not set yet. Because Davenport is going to become a two-way street.
Yes,
One lane in each direction and a center turn lane.
that's correct. Yes.
That's going to be interesting.
That is where we're going to need our customers to have some patience. It's a traffic pattern that not everybody's used to.
Nobody's used to it.
Nobody's used to. So is there going to be a large learning curve? Absolutely. So if we just, to our viewers and customers, please just give it some time till people get in a routine. We're hoping that eventually we'll get that routine and it'll flow a little bit better.
So let's say, we'll just pick one out of the air. Let's say that work begins on State Street at the end of April. Okay? How long a process is it to rebuild that road? When would you expect completion?
I didn't write down the end date, but we're looking at basically the 1st of December. We're going to be around the 1st of December.
And that's been
After
pushed back
Thanksgiving.
because obviously you've started later. So
Yeah.
what you take out of one end, you got to make up at the other.
Yeah, we're going to hope for an Indian summer, I guess, to hopefully clean that job up and get it buttoned up by the end of the season.
And
But
this is not a cap. This is a full rebuild,
this is full
right down to the base.
Yeah, new water main that the city's committed to. That's for their customers. New water main, and then new storm sewer and everything. Yep.
What do you do with all the homes that are along and the businesses along that stretch? I mean, how do they have access? How do they get in and out of their driveways?
Yeah, right now there is set up in the contractor that residents will be able to get to their houses. They're supposed to have one lane of traffic open and available for them to access their their
But that's
driveway.
not a through lane. That's just
No, it's not a
local
through.
lane for the
That is
homeowners
correct.
and businesses.
Yeah, because they still need to get to their homes
Right.
in and out. And there's going to be some days where if they're working in the homeowner's driveway, we're going to have to coordinate with them to say, hey, can you park your car out on the street for a little bit? It's safe here. That's where the residents can go right to our staff and say, where's my safe place? Where can I have my car parked? Or what do I expect tomorrow when I come home from work? So, yeah.
This is one of those things where, we hate to see the orange barrels, but we sure love the road when you're done with it.
Yes. Yeah, it's that's
real
correct.
nice-
Yeah, they're horrible to look at, I'm sure, for most customers. So, but then once the best day is the day that they're pulled off the road and everybody can go back to their normal pattern. Everybody doesn't like disruption, including me. But if we wait a little bit, hopefully next year at this time we're thinking, wow, I can't wait till they do that next section, because what we have out there today is way an improvement.
Well,
so
yeah, but the one thing now is nobody's going to say that, because that section that's already been recapped, not rebuilt, but recapped, is pretty doggone smooth. So I'm not going to worry about that.
That's true. That's true. Let's give it a couple of freestyle cycles and a couple of water and see what happens. I don't mean to be negative like that, but it's like that's just part of our challenge, is to say, okay, how can we nurse these along until we can do the right fix? Like you said, it's 5 years out. We've got a lot to plan for. A lot of the things that people don't physically see. You don't see the water main. You don't see the storm sewer. You don't see the sanitary. You don't see the gas lines that
underneath.
The utility companies have to potentially move, because we're coming in and we're doing this.
It's the infrastructure.
It's the infrastructure, yes. And it seems like a long wait to get it all moved and fixed and out of the way and in the ideal location. And yeah, so it's a huge undertaking.
Let's talk about another major item around here, the Zilwaukee Bridge.
Sure.
What kind of shape's it in?
Oh, it's in good condition. It's in good condition. There's a whole federal rating system that we have to abide by. Actually, we're in the process now that southbound is shut down. We're doing it happens every 4 years. They're doing the hands-on, in-depth, close-up inspection of.
That's literally what it is. It's an inspection, inside and out.
Yes, inside and out. Yep. And so now that we have southbound closed, or they what I'm saying, it's still by our people. I have organized it in Lansing. Basically, they'll come out. They'll have a qualified inspection team to go through and do the detailed inspection on that. They go actually from every pier. They go 4 sections out, hands-on, up close. They know every crack, nook and cranny in that structure. They're seeing if anything's moved. And
so when you're done with the southbound, you then have to do the northbound?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be doing northbound too. So when it's closed, so that's not going to be a fun undertaking either. But right now we've got it closed up until the 27th of June. The work that's going on, Art, and to our viewers, is we're actually going to be putting a healer sealer on the top surface. So what that is, preventative maintenance. It's an epoxy type material, seeps down into the cracks. Concrete does crack. Just look at our driveways. It seeps down in the crack. It hardens. It seals those up. That way, any kind of infiltrants that we get from that tracks on the road, like salt. We don't use salt on it, but any dirt, debris that would eventually find its way down in the cracks it won't be able to, because that epoxy is going to seal it up. Then there's so that's one treatment, and that is usually a 5 to 7 year preventative maintenance fix. The last time we did it was when we had it shut down in 2012 and 13 when we did the bearing replacement. So it's time. It's preventative maintenance. It's just investing in our future.
I don't know how many people realize how hollow that bridge is.
Oh, yeah.
Going inside that bridge.
Oh, you can walk
a
through
trip
it?
of a lifetime.
Yeah, it's great. You can drive a cart or actually walk through it. So done many tours, and it's very humbling to see how big that is on the inside. So.
When I did it, quite a number of years ago, you still had to pull yourself up on the rope to get up. Oh,
goodness.
Now I think they have laddering or something. Right?
Yeah, there's a little.
It was a rope when I did it.
Oh, wow.
That goes back a ways. We're going to take a break. Come back with our guest. We have a question from a caller too. I don't know if you can answer this. I don't know if this is in your region.
Yeah.
They asked what happened to all the trees in the median of I-75 north of West Branch. Anybody know?
I do not. That's outside my jurisdiction, but we'll see if we can find out.
Yeah, let me know.
It's just real recently?
I don't know. That's all. They just said what happened to all the trees in the median of I-75 north of West Branch.
That'd be North Region, but we'll check real fast.
Yeah, see if you can check.
Okay.
We'll be back after these notes.
Right,
it could be the best years of
communications. We have Caitlin French, who has done yeoman's duty for us, because just before the break we had a question from a caller. What happened to all the trees in the median of I-75 north of West Branch? And you found the answer.
Yeah, I checked in with our North Region folks. So in a nutshell, what it is it's to allow sunlight to get down to the pavement. Because trees, if they get too high, it's going to be shaded. And since, they do get quite a bit of snow the farther north you get.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's allowed, to help reduce, winter weather-related crashes. So the more sunlight you get down, the more the sun can really, attack that ice and snow and help,
So there was a scientific reason for it as opposed to just coming along and taking trees out.
Yep, it sounds like it was kind of a problematic area where there was a lot of spots, icy slick spots being formed by the shade. So this was to help make that area safer.
Interesting. Things you don't think about.
No.
Just never think about those things. So let's, Steve, let's go back. We finished with the bridge. Any projects on I-75, or have we pretty well escaped the orange barrels for a while on 75?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say escape. So just sorry, Art, and to our customers, it is a season. It is the best time because it's warmer months. We're not freezing. We're not dealing with the snow plow.
It's 2 seasons.
It's 2
winter and orange barrels.
And orange barrels. So apologize to our viewers, but if you just have patience with us, hopefully we can get stuff opened up where it's free and easy for people to go up north and go.
So, is there other work on 75 other than the bridge?
There is actually. We have some construction happening. It's actually south of the Bridgeport exit. We've got five bridges, or we typically call them structures. That's getting some repairs. So we're doing some repairs up top, which doesn't influence our I-75 traffic, but we also have some steel repairs that are happening to the structures. And because of that, we do have to take at least 2 lanes of traffic on 75 in order for our contractor to finish those repairs.
But, that's necessary work, isn't it? I mean, bridges, we hear that the bridges are not in great shape in the state, but anytime you can repair one, that's good.
Yes.
5 is even better.
5 is even better. Yep. So they're actually going in. I guess it's just like a road system. The bridge system tries to keep the bridges, or what we commonly call structures, in good or fair condition, and this is just one of those projects that does that. So,
does the road division do the bridge division? Is there a separation of divisions? Who takes care of the bridges? Who takes care of the roads?
So we do have different staff managing those assets, the road assets and the bridge assets, but they sit right next to each other. Our common goal is the same: try to keep our infrastructure in good or fair condition, and so they're just 2 different animals. Per se, but it's still we do work together to try to incorporate road jobs with bridge jobs if we can. If not, then they do go independent of each other. So.
But it's necessary work.
Yes, it's just general maintenance, just like you would on your car or your house. Yeah.
Have we seen all we're going to see in terms of expansion of lanes of I-75, for example? We're pretty well done with that.
Right now,
whoa, right now.
There are no future plans within the next 5 years
Good. There we go.
to make I-75 to 3 lanes north of Bay City. No, we just don't. It's not really justified. We're trying to. It's hard enough trying to maintain what we have now and keep stuff in good or fair condition.
And US 10, what kind of shape's it in?
It's as far as the shape going back from Bay City to Midland, it's there's sections in there that are actually getting poor. There's sections in there brand new that we just repaved within the last 2 years. So, since you brought US 10 up, there is a plan, or there has been a plan, to actually improve westbound US 10 from basically 7 Mile Road where we left off all the way to the Midland County line. That unfortunately, it was within the 5-year plan a couple of years ago, but then based on funding, got moved out, pushed out. That's why I'm very hesitant on locking anything in. And so with that section, we do still intend to do a reconstruct from 7 Mile all the way to the county line. I think right now it's in maybe 2030, 31, somewhere there. But because of the condition, because of our commitment to the customers, we will be doing a cap on westbound US 10 from Flagler Road going back to the west all the way to the Midland County line, or should I
doesn't
say
take
the
very
rail
long to
structure.
do a cap, though, does it?
No, it's going to take us just a couple days.
Yeah.
And how we were able to get that project in is we have a certain amount of funding that's allocated for winter maintenance.
Right.
And with that leftover money that we have from that, we actually put that back in the road system. So we're utilizing the dollars that weren't used in winter maintenance, and we're going to put a cap on that so our customers have a decent surface to ride on. It doesn't mean that below it's in good
I hear
shape.
you.
So yeah.
Take a quick break, come back with one more segment with our guests.
Attention, all Mega Millions.
Back with you, our guests in studio from MDOT, Steve Catenhus and Caitlin French. Let's just wrap up real quickly here, because there are some other projects. Lafayette Bridge is underway.
Yep.
2-year project in round numbers, right?
Yep. 30 months to and so crews they're very active going at it. There's a time where we're working 24 hours a day, trying to get the sheeting in. So then we can meet the fish restriction days.
And that's that is a full rebuild, including the pillars in the water. I mean, that's everything from the bottom up, right?
Correct. Everything you see and the stuff that you can't see that's submerged.
It's all new.
It's all coming out and all brand new is going in. And if I could, I just want to remind our viewers too that the overflow bridge, or commonly called the overflow bridge, that's to the west of there. There's no plans to do anything with that whatsoever. It's just Lafayette Street Bridge. That alone, brand spanking new.
All right. You mentioned to me M81. You're going to be doing something on M81?
Yes. We do need to mention a couple words about that. M81, basically from Tower Line Road back, going to the east all the way to the westerly city limits of Reese, is currently under construction. So what we're doing there, Art, and to our viewers, is we're actually coming in and we're grinding out the bad joints that everybody hits with their vehicles. We're grinding those out. We're putting asphalt back in those. Then once those are all complete and done, we're going to go ahead and do a recap on M81.
So is there traffic on M81? Is it flag controlled? Or?
Yes. Traffic is still able to get through on M81, and we are maintaining with flag control. So. All
right. I wanted to ask this question just because. What do you think about roundabouts?
Roundabouts? They're a great application as long as they're in the correct application. So, no, they are great.
They have done what they're supposed to. I mean, if we look at M81, which I think is the first ones around here, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
They cut accidents down to almost nothing, didn't they?
Yeah. Yes, and delayed in our customers waiting on the ramps too. So, and we had that conversation offline. I know that I was a younger engineer when coming in, and when that was first brought to our attention, I thought, boy, that'll never work. But obviously, I eat my words, and I think they're just a great tool in the toolbox to use. They cut down on the severity of crashes. They're pretty easy to navigate. You're forced to the right, look to the left, you yield to oncoming traffic, and slide in.
The bridges you're working on, the 5 bridges down on 75, will they have roundabouts when they're done, or no?
No,
they're just straight rebuilds.
Straight rebuilds. They're actually service the county roads for the Saginaw County Road Commission, so the road's over.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's not an interchange at these structures.
So roundabouts, yes.
They are a great tool in the toolbox. I don't mind navigating those at all. So,
Caitlin, let's go back to where we started with the plows and the plow for painting. If schools are interested, how do they apply?
Yep. So there's an online form on the MDOT website. And they're able to go on there, fill out some information about the school, about the design that they're thinking about. And then they're able to do that till May 16th of this year. And then once we kind of go through that, the awarded schools will actually notify them pretty shortly afterwards.
And when do they get the plow?
They will probably be getting that in the fall, so the beginning of the school year.
Oh, so in the fall. They don't. Yeah. It's not a summer project then.
Nope, not a summer thing. So it's a fall thing for, the students for that semester.
If they get the plow in the fall, how long do they have to paint it? Because in the fall, you're only 2 months away from the plows going on the trucks.
Oh, yeah. They have about mid-October.
Oh, so they have a month and a half maybe to...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And high school art kids, I mean, they can push through and do that. Creative bunch.
Then just so our viewers know, specifically the people at Heritage, with that painted wing plow. I was talking to our crews yesterday. They said that paint is holding up well. For the
That's
amount
amazing.
of